Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally. Tonight I am in an open invite with these lovely ladies. I'll tell you more in a bit. If you are new to my channel, here on this channel you will see many crafts, furniture flips, wonderful dump hauls, and many trash to treasures and flips from those same items. I have been cleaning out my garage, so I have 4 furniture flips tonight. This bench was at the dump. Yes, believe it or not. It had a broken spindle, which my husband glued, and it was worse for wear. I just took it outside and sanded it, and then my husband helped me with the compressor that he just got and a little paint sprayer to see if it might be something that we would be able to spray. Having not done this with the compressor before, I needed a little bit of a lesson. But I have this pretty color I mixed up with some latex paint that I had hanging around, and I did try it with this small sprayer, but I felt like we were going to be doing it for hours and hours. It was just much too slow to really get anything accomplished. So we did our best for the first coat on that, and then my husband was kind enough to go out and pick me up a larger paint sprayer at the local hardware store. So once we got that first coat on, and that was fully dried, then we were able to move on and do a second coat. Now we are redoing the small lobby in our church, and so this piece was actually found by a friend of ours. They also go to our church, so they knew that we were doing that lobby, and so that is what we decided to do, was to go ahead and paint that for that space. It did take 2 full coats, and once that was fully dry, we were able to put it in the space, which I hope to show you in a future video, the completed lobby. But that is how that came out, and I love it. So that is number 1. Now on to number 2. You may have seen in a video in the past I had taken this table, which was broken, and I had tried to do something with it, but I was not happy with it. So I decided to sand that table down and sand smooth the edge. It was just too rough around the edge. And then take that same color and paint just the top of the table with 2 coats of that. Now the bottom was a little scratched and a little bit worse for wear, so I just went ahead and took some of the Waverly Antiquing wax on a rag and just went over that entire piece and then wiped that all down to darken that up a bit and just make it a little bit nicer looking. And when that was done, I moved on to these brass feet, which I love, but the chandeliers in the space we're working at are a little more goldy brass. So I took this rub and buff that my husband had with a brush, and I just brushed over the feet. And then once I had finished brushing that on, I just took a little rag and wiped some of that back so it wasn't quite so gold. And that was really all I needed to do. I put a polyurethane coat on the top of this, and that's it. And so that's going to go in that same space. Now, item number 3 was this dresser. This top was painted in this blue, gray, black, white, I don't know how many coats of paint, and I took my sander and just sanded the entire top of this dresser off because and it took more than one sanding. I had to go again and again until I could get down past all of that to the top. The rest of the dresser was really rather lovely. It really just needed that, so I cleaned up the rest of the dresser, and then I just took that same Waverly Antiquing wax and went over that, and I tried the gel stain on this one, the Varathane gel stain in hickory, because I wanted this a little bit more uniform, and it took that stain beautifully. I love the wood on this. I'm not sure if it's chestnut. I have no idea exactly what it is, but I absolutely love the way that it came out, and decided to put it in my laundry room because even though it's a dresser and it has this cool, like, sock thing and what have you on the top, I just love the look of it in my laundry room with the items that I have in there, and I didn't really love the one that I had. So that is where that is at the moment, and I am really digging it. So that takes me on to number 4. And this was a high chair you might have seen that I also got at the dump and wanted to redo for my beautiful little granddaughter who has just started to eat solids. Had to sand down that top tray several times because God only knows what was on it. Still could not get it the way I wanted it, but covered up the design on the front, cleaned the whole thing good, took it outside, and we sprayed this also with the same color. Since we had it in the sprayer and we were already working with the sprayer, we decided to just go ahead, and my husband is helping me here with this one because quite frankly he wants to play with this toy. He wanted to check this out as well. It is kind of cool using the sprayer, I have to say. It is much nicer to be able to do that than to have to constantly brush, which is how I was able to actually accomplish 4 pieces of furniture in a couple of weeks instead of a couple of months. So now my garage is looking amazing. And this again took 2 full coats. And then once that was completely dry, I did not do the top of the tray because I didn't want that painted. But once that was completely dry, I took the tape off where I had covered up this little design because, this is probably from the 40s or 50s, and I thought that was really kind of sweet, and I wanted to be able to do something with it as a nod back to that. So I had to sand off a little bit of the rough edges around the tape and clean it up, and then I took out some of that same rub and buff, I believe, or some paint that I had hanging around in that same kind of a gold tone to kind of give that little bit of a picture frame. But before I do that, I took the same hickory gel stain and had to do a couple of coats on the tray before I got that the way that I wanted it. And here is that gilded gold color. So just with the edges that this is framed with, I just took a paintbrush and sort of painted around it. And it is a sweet little girl coming down the stairs next to a grandfather's clock. And I thought that was appropriate since my husband repairs clocks. So I just really love the way that this came out and can't wait for my little granddaughter to be able to use it. So I hope that you enjoyed today, and if you will please check on the description box for the link of the playlist of all the other wonderful crafters that are joining me in today's challenge. So please subscribe and like and share and stay tuned, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye-bye.